Thank you so much. One note before, Annalena Hodenberg was planned to be here, but she is ill and actually really suffering. Sends her regards. She would have done a fine job. I try to do it kind of overnight. Hence, no fancy slides, but I hope interesting insights. I will talk about a new leadership challenge, confronting AI-based workplace harassment. I will give you some context about digital violence and AI-based violence before that. The German Federal Criminal Authority described digital violence the fastest growing form of violence against women. It is present in all societal contexts. It starts with children and their educational context, in class chats, for example, in school chats, on social media platforms. You see it in relationships, or rather ex-relationships. You also see it at the workplace and basically in all societal environments. Women and people of color are disproportionately targeted, regardless of the type of digital violence or the societal context. Digital violence comes in many variations, not just AI-based. I will briefly highlight some of the others before I come to the AI part. There is cyberstalking, for example, where you can follow somebody not just in the analog world, but also in the entire digital life of somebody. There is doxing, where you public the private address of a person, so she can be targeted there. There's a lot of digital violence related to domestic violence by partners or often ex-partners. We have revenge porn, non-consensual, circulating nude pictures and videos. We have all sorts of surveillance, unwanted, of course. We have something, there's even a name for those apps. It's called spouseware, should be called ex-spouseware very often, where men illegally and non-consensual load apps to smartphones of their wives or ex-wives, or they implant little household devices like hooks for towels with implanted hidden cameras. You can buy those things on Amazon for $20. Or they use tracking devices like AirTags from Apple. You know them, very practical for tracking your suitcase. But if you drop it in the handbag of your ex-wife, of girlfriend, or put it in a stuffed animal of your joint kid, you can track her anywhere, even in a protected house. But there is also manipulation of IoT devices, manipulating remotely internet routers, locking or opening remotely smart doors, or in the middle of the night switching on the light or switching it off. Music going on, heat going on and off, just as somebody wants to. And then there are what most people know most about, the entire topic of hate speech and threats, digital threats, rape threats, for example, often anonymously on social media platforms or directly per email. And then there are the deepfakes. And now we come to the AI part. So it's just one part of many parts of digital violence. Deepfakes are when you use generative AI to mimic real people in a very realistic way. There exist many deepfake tools by now. They are very easily available to anybody. You can convincingly impersonate somebody with pictures, with audio, with video. Even in real time, especially for audio, it's extremely easy to do that today. And you only need 3 seconds of recorded audio to generate further audio fake. And you can't hear it. Not even experts, it's very difficult. The tools are very user-friendly, readily available, so everybody can do it. It scales fast, and that's dangerous. And then combine this with algorithms on social media platforms, and then that content can even go viral and do even more harm. Deepfakes are not necessarily bad. There are some legitimate use cases. If you want to have fun with friends and family, you can make deepfakes of yourself, of course. You can have art, yeah, you can have actors deepfaked with their consent and then they fly on dragons in movies and things like that. You can use it in education. In my state, the state of Brandenburg, there's a very cool police officer who is very present at Instagram, and he uses live deepfakes to teach children and their parents how you can easily deepfake a minor being an old white male adult. So he uses this for raising awareness for cyber grooming. So there are some good deepfakes. You can use it in a transparent and consensual way, but then there are all the others. Illegal, harmful, dangerous use cases. We know them from outside the workplace, but it depends on the workplace. So if we talk about disinformation and election interference, my workplace was the German Bundestag, the parliament. So of course it was interfering with my workplace. When you have deepfakes on you, which I did not have, but Kamala Harris had this. There were robocalls, deepfaking Joe Biden. There have been fake sexual pictures of a Polish politician right before the elections. And we have the entire area of harassment and abuse, like having fake footage or voice cloned, showing victims in embarrassing situations. But we also have face-swapped videos from pornographic platforms. So you just exchange the face, so it looks like me, for example. And you have the AI-generated nude images, and those can be circulated widely. And there are, as I mentioned before, readily available tools. One even, nomen as omen, is called clothes off. You can just picture somebody and then you see her naked. There exist even entire platforms just for pornographic deepfakes. Whole platforms. Generative AI is being weaponized to harm women. There was an analysis of 15,000 deepfake videos online. 96% of all those videos are non-consensual, intimate content. And 100% of examined content on the top 5 deepfake pornography websites targeted women. 100%. The victims included celebrities, that's their workplace, female politicians, that would have been mine, journalists, but also private individuals who all have workplaces somewhere. But the topic today is AI-based harassment at the workplace and what leadership needs to do, and that is what I want to talk about now. We have to differentiate two standard situations. One, somebody unknown does this outside the company, like the ex-boyfriend of an employee, or you don't know who it is because it's anonymous. Or there's one employee harassing another one inside the same company. Both have implications for employees, for the company, and that means management needs to act. Attribution, by the way, is very difficult. So very often you don't know whether it's this one situation, outsider against insider, or employee against employee in the same company. You very often do not know. But some cases are more directly related to the workplace. Like if you have a face swap video, like from those pornographic platforms, and then you circulate this in an employee communication channels, or you send it to the supervisor and manager of that person. What are managers doing about it? How do co-workers react? How does that employee feel and behave? That is an interesting question. The impact on employees can be devastating, regardless whether it's an internal or external offender. But circulation of those content in a work environment, in the own work environment, can cause extra harm. Just imagine another use case. There's a fake misconduct footage or a voice cloned confession of misconduct, and somebody sends it anonymously to HR. How is HR reacting? Whom are they believing? What they see and hear, although it may be fake? Imagine another case, a voice or video clone of a manager leading an employee to harming the company, for example, by transferring money to illegitimate accounts. That happened in 2024 to a Hong Kong company who lost $24 million this way. That's usually criminals wanting the money, but theoretically it could also be somebody who wants to damage a certain employee because, of course, they will lose their jobs. AI harassment on the workplace has real consequences on real people. It will harm employees' mental and physical well-being and hence performance. When a woman is targeted with such a type of deepfake, the damage is immediate, even if later on it's proven false. The doubt will linger, a promotion may be lost, the whisper network grows. Digital violence has negative psychosocial impact, and science has shown that the impact, the consequences are just as harmful as after a physical injury. It can lead to post-traumatic stress disorder, to depression, to sleep issues, anxiety, low self-esteem, and insecurity. Victims are impacted as human beings in their life quality, but of course also in their work ability. Their careers can be damaged and their potential not fully developed. It may even lead to loss of talent, because if, for example, all colleagues and managers know about an embarrassing fake nude pic or video of a female employee, just imagine how she feels. Everybody looks at her strange in the canteen, they laugh about her, they mock her probably. She will very likely leave this workplace. There can also be a reputation damage for employees, but also for the company. And by the way, it can also hit a woman in leadership. Could be a senior vice president being a fake porn target. Most often, companies are very unprepared. And here is why. They treat deepfakes as a cybersecurity issue only. It can be one, but it's more than that. It is also a workplace harassment issue. They do not train managers and employees to recognize digitally manipulated abuse. A study showed that over 50% of leaders have no training at all for this. They are not aware of the many ways and how it can impact talent and management, how deepfakes, videos, images, and audio are being weaponized against women, or maybe people of colors, or LGBTQI employees. They have no processes in place, no structures, they are not prepared to protect employees, and they lack protocols for verifying digital content before acting on it. More than 60% of leaders admitted to not having any protocols in place for deep fake threats. A Business.com study 1 year ago from June 2004 showed only 16% of leaders said that they have a thorough knowledge about deepfakes, including how they are made, what tools you can use, for what purpose they can be used, and what implications that has. Basically what I told you about, only 16% of managers know this. So how do we fight back? How can leadership prepare for these situations? The answer is not just with tech, but with policy, with culture, and courage. You need to establish deepfake response protocols. Companies must treat deepfakes as a form of digital harassment and violence. They have to create clear procedures for verifying content before acting on anonymous tips. They need to involve legal, HR, and digital forensics team early on. And they need to establish or update acceptable technology use policies. But they also need to train leaders to recognize digital abuse, know about the risks, and know the protocols they hopefully have. They need to educate managers and HR professionals on how deepfakes work and how they are used to target marginalized employees. Make it clear in your company environments, acting on unverified digital content is not neutral, it's complicity. Also, always protect the victim and pursue the perpetrator. When a deepfake surfaces, the default should always to protect the person targeted and not to question their integrity, just like in analog violence cases. Offer also immediate support, counseling and legal resources, and be very practical. Some examples. You need to offer psychosocial support, have experts available. You need to help with getting deepfakes off of the internet. That probably needs legal resources. Help with identifying the perpetrator. You need forensics and tech experts for it. Support the employee in legal defense against the perpetrator if he can be identified. And if that is an employee, fire and sue him yourself as a company. Zero tolerance is needed. Also, clear the reputation of the targeted employee inside and outside. That needs corporate communications, but do it in a sensitive way and always consensual with the victim. And then you need to create a culture of digital allyship. Encourage employees to report manipulated content. Make sure they know how and where they can do this. And reward those who speak up when they see digital abuse. Make it known this behavior will not be tolerated, be it online or offline. Women used to worry about being misquoted. Now we have to worry about being digitally impersonated too. But we can do something about it. We are not powerless, especially as leaders. We can build workplaces where deepfakes don't derail careers because they are recognized, they are rejected, and they are condemned. We can create cultures where women don't have to prove they are real to be believed. And we can lead, not just in protecting ourselves, but in demanding better systems for everyone. We can make sure other leaders understand AI and the workplace is more than inserting AI into business processes. It is also about protecting your workplace against malicious use of AI. This is an ethical imperative for any responsible business, but it also makes business sense. Let's not wait for the next scandal. Let's act now with vigilance, with empathy, and with effective processes in place. Thank you.
Thank you.